I am so honored to accept this award on behalf of Verizon and our employees. At Verizon, we believe the best and brightest minds can come from anywhere. That's why we are proud of our long-standing relationship with NAF and have supported the internship program for many years. To be named an internship champion speaks to the value we place on cultivating talent from the earliest points in their career. Internships open the door to finding great people, often from non-traditional backgrounds, and bring them into Verizon. In fact, many of our V-teamers started as interns, and now they're building the future and creating a more connected world. The work NAF does to encourage and support students in STEM are critical to building a workforce ready for the future. Exceptional talent is out there. Let's make sure everyone has the access and support to work to their full potential. Thank you.
I'm really honored. It is an honor, to be recognized by NAF, but I think more importantly, I would say I'm very grateful to be working with a very dedicated and resilient group of advisory committee members. These folks, many of them have been with the Academy since its inception 12 years ago. So they're tenured in this role, but they were really up to the challenge that the COVID pandemic presented to us and our students. I'm also very proud, to be able to represent Pratt and work for Pratt and in the broader sense, Raytheon Technologies, because Raytheon in particular, you really encourage us to connect with our communities. And when we do, we feel the support in real ways. And I would say, I've got a great job. I get a job where I go to work, I do my day stuff, right? But then I get to fulfill some of the passions that I have, and it really is around students and education in the community in general, but particularly to see the growth of students where in many cases they're underserved. And so making these opportunities available and reaching into support means a lot. So really, really thankful and really honored for this award.
Well, congratulations again. And as I was saying before you came on, you and I had a chance to chat prior to coming on live today. And I thought we kind of jumped right into a flow of conversation that, of course, it's on every business person's mind these days. And I want to share a little bit of that. So I want to start out by asking you about what's the future look like? What kind of skills, what kind of jobs are businesses, especially in the technology business, which is what you and I are near and dear to, but just in business in today's reality, what are the skill sets and what are the roles and jobs that you think we need students to prepare for?
Yeah, I think in general, we have to have business needs to really be focused on the skills that are going to be necessary for success in the 21st century. And so what may have been core 30 years ago might not suit our needs. We're advancing. Technology is, such a big part of everything we do. We are introducing things like robotics and automation in many of our operations. And so we need to prepare both the professionals and the hourly associates that join our companies with those requisite skills. And so we're acutely aware of that challenge and the need to build that pipeline. And for that to happen, there really needs to be a clear partnership with education where we're enabling that delivery of those programs, coursework, in inserting ourselves in the formation of curriculum that helps to build those skills, because by doing so and by partnering with that education community, that's how we ensure that we'll be able to hold whatever competitive edge we have. It will not be simply by being stagnant. We have to be very proactive and deliberate in that talent development.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. What do you think about these additional sort of, people used to call them soft skills, but I don't really think they're soft. I think they're probably harder in some ways. And that's this whole collaboration, democratization of technology, the ability to work with teams, just this whole idea that leadership styles and empathetic approaches to work You and I were talking a little bit about the up and coming generation, not just even the millennials. And what kind of skills, in addition to the technical skills, do you think they need to have to be prepared and to be successful in this new economy?
Well, I would say, communication is a given. We want all of our employees, and as students transition to the world of work, they need to be able to communicate both written and verbally. That's a key. But the collaboration aspect, so much of what we do is on teams. They've lived that in the last, if they didn't believe it before, they learned it like we do in corporate America, that you need to collaborate, and the tools that we saw become used extensively enable that community, that collaboration. But again, just being able to, present their ideas, take something very complex and technical and simplify it, working with the teams, like I mentioned. Those are some of the things that, especially when they get a NAF internship, these students get to practice and they get to see real firsthand how it's done in the workplace.
Yeah. So shifting a little bit to what educators and the educational community can expect from business. Certainly, that's a lot of the mission of NAF, but how do you see it? What can educators expect from us?
I think they should, and hopefully, and I'm speaking from the Raytheon's perspective, but they should expect an eager partner. During the pandemic, we were learning together. We were thrust into a virtual environment, and so were the students and the educators. I mean, many of the students might have been a little bit more adept at the tools, but I saw our educators, our teachers, great, talented, dedicated people. Many struggled with the technology, but we worked through it. And so they should see an eager partner in business. We are willing to step forward and assist. Like I mentioned before, whether it's through curriculum, offering internship, work-based learning, and the work-based learning and experience is not limited to just the students. There's opportunities to help educators understand what we do and how we do it, and so they can translate that in their curriculum and delivery of it. So there's a lot of things that we can do, and just enabling resources, bringing resources to the table. I think there is clearly a sense that the business community understands better. Many of the conversations we were having with leadership meetings were people getting on and saying, "Oh my goodness, please excuse me. My son is next to me doing his homework and he's on Zoom too, and the dog is with us." And so we had to adjust to all of that in real time. So we are acutely aware of what those challenges are. And in business, I think we're even more ready to help. And so I think that's the opportunity for business to partner more so with education.
I love that. I couldn't agree with you more. I want to ask one final question, one that you and I talked about, and that I think is so critical, and I've become very passionate about. And that's really, what do we need to do to lean in to support our students? And I hope they don't cut us off before we finish this. Because, what is it we need to do to lean in? We talked about all the help and remote work and all of that. But what are all the key parts of how we lean in to help our students be career ready?
I think we step forward, offer resources. The pandemic, if there was an underserved community that was struggling and there was an education gap, Miriam, it's only gotten worse as a result of the pandemic. It's gotten easier. So, at Raytheon, we said we're going to double down in our commitment to the community and in our commitment to STEM and even with NAF. But I think other corporations need to do the same and really step forward and offer their resources and support. There's a lot of talent, a lot of knowledge in many of our organizations that we can bring that to bear with the education community. And I think making ourselves available, not just through our knowledge, but through resources is what's going to make a difference.
Yeah. And I'll just add one closing comment before we move on that adds on what you're saying or builds on what you're saying. Companies need to be clear about what their purpose and their values are, because our students coming up, young people coming up, are looking to work at companies where they agree with the purpose and the values. You told me a story about one of your direct reports who was saying, "Hey, can I really feel my personal purpose when I'm spending so many hours on the job?" I think that's more common for our future leaders and workforce than it has ever been. And so companies, we need to lean in and make sure we're clear about what our purpose and what our values are, and so that these future employees and leaders can identify and say, yes, I want to work at that place.
No, I totally agree. You know, a comment that JD made at the very opening of this conference was that she said technology got us through during the COVID time, but technology will not sustain us. And so people, our passion and our commitment is what will sustain our program. And so that resonated with me because, like I mentioned before, I'm privileged because I get to do my job and I can fulfill a passion and feel like I'm moving towards a purpose. But many of our employees are demanding that. And so where companies can allow that platform and, like I mentioned, enable it and support it when they seek to do so, I think we'll have a combination of a really good situation for both employee and employees, employer and employees, I should say.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you for the dialogue. Congratulations to you. And I really hope we get to continue this conversation off screen.
Absolutely. Thanks, Marian.